Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. Right, everything's set. We are ready to go. Today's meditation will be I am the mountain. I often hear that for many people that is their favorite meditation. So for today, I specifically wanted to find a poem about a mountain to share with you. And wow, I found a poem called The Mountain by Laura Ding Edwards. And while the poem doesn't exactly reflect the nature of today's meditation, I do feel that it really reflects most of everything I stand for. We live in a world where the idea of growth has been perverted into something completely unnatural. There is this push for constant growth, and every day just needs to be better than the day before. The thing is that we are not machines though. We ebb and flow. We grow, we contract, we take steps forward, we also take steps back. Because growth really is a dance and not the flick of a light switch. Linda, very good morning. It is so good to see you. I hope that you are doing really well. Right, here's The Mountain poem by Laura Ding Edwards. I love these words so much. It says, if the mountain seems too big today, then climb a hill instead. If the morning brings you sadness, it's okay to stay in bed. If the day ahead weighs heavy and your plans feel like a curse, there's no shame in rearranging. Don't make yourself feel worse. If a shower stings like needles and a bath feels like you'll drown, if you haven't washed your hair for days, don't throw away your crown. A day is not a lifetime, and rest is not defeat. Don't think of it as failure, just a quiet, kind retreat. It's okay to take a moment from an anxious, fractured mind. The world will not stop turning while you get realigned. The mountain will still be there when you want to try again. So climb it in your own time and love yourself till then. So please remember, you are not a machine. While there are days that you do in fact need to push yourself, there are also many, many moments in which you have to put everything down and just rest without feeling guilty about it. So our meditation today, I am the mountain, is not quite the same as the words of these poems. However, what is true is if we learn how to take a moment to sit in the weather, whatever weather we're experiencing, feel the sunshine, feel the rain, experience the storm, just sit in this weather for a moment, then we tend to get to the place of wisdom where we know and understand whether right now is a time to push or whether right now is a time to put everything down and just rest. Hey Anthony, a good evening to you. Awesome seeing you. Right, if you are ready, here we go. We're gonna float away together right now. You can close your eyes and we'll start with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. A deep breath in and out. A deep inhale Let it go. Deep breath in. And out. One more big breath in. And let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill up your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling. And once you've reached your full height, let all of it go. With every exhale, soften. When you breathe out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and drop your head. Imagine for a moment the presence of a mountain. We have all been in the presence of a mountain, so we have an idea of what that feels like. Imagine for a moment being that presence, embodying that presence. A mountain that has for millennia seen everything come and also seen most of it go. What would it be like if you could recall seeing all of it come and also seeing most of it go? What are all of the things you'd have seen come and go? The reminder, of course, is that your soul with no beginning date and no shelf life, your soul too has seen it all come and also seen most of it go. From this perspective, do you think it might be easier to know what is important and what is perhaps just not? We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, slipping out of the breath holding space and into the next. Let's take a deep breath in. As you release, we're stretching, not out of the breath holding space. I'm jumping the gun. We're stretching. Let's do this again. Take a deep breath in. And as you release, drop your head all the way forward. And roll out your neck muscles, going forward and to the left. And forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, focus on your spine. See if you can tilt your head towards the left and at the same time tilt your hips towards the right. Curving your spine into an S from your head down to your tailbone. And of course, do that on the other side too. One more big breath in. And as you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence as much as we are able to at least, we can now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. If you don't have the time to sit for the whole meditation with us, then this is a really good place to stop. But if you are here for the whole journey, then with every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. Let's take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, make it a really long, really slow exhale. Take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, feel into your body and feel how softness comes and settles in every part of your body. Take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling. Feel your body slowly softening. Feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in. And hold. As you release, feel yourself melting, feel your whole body dissolving. Feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath. But hold it only for as long as it feels easy, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, I want to remind you of our mountain, your mountain. See if you can form a picture of your favorite mountain. Take your next big breath. I want to invite you to be as open and as playful with today's experience as possible. Lean into your imagination as we pay attention to this mountain. When you're able to visualize, or at least when you try to lean into visualizing, it has the effect of lowering your brain waves. It's a little bit like when you fall asleep and find yourself dreaming, your brain waves have slowed down into a theta state. And your mind is able to see imagery that's not quite realistic in this moment. The thing is though, even when we are awake and we lean into that visualization part of our brain, leaning into the imagination and creating imagery in our mind that might not be totally realistic right now, then we have helped our brain waves become lower. And lower brain waves give you more access to your subconscious. So lean into your imagination for a moment as we explore this mountain. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, zoom out from your mountain, fly around it, look at it from top to bottom. And take note of how much vegetation grows on your mountain, how much of it is rocky, and how much of it is plant life. Take your next big breath. We're going to zoom in on the plant life for a moment. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, zoom in on a plant. Find a leaf. And with your mind, zoom in on this leaf. So much so that you can study all of the detail. Turn the leaf over and look at the texture. at the bottom of the leaf. Take your next big breath. Then as you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, we move our attention to the animals of our mountain. Find one animal specifically. Zoom all the way in until you can see the texture of the hair. Take a good look at the texture of the hair of this animal on your mountain. Take your next big breath. And then we'll shift our attention to the birds of our mountain. As you take your next big breath and dive deep inside, find a bird in a nest on your mountain. And zoom all the way in so you can see the texture of a feather on this bird. Take your next big breath. Then take your seat again as the mountain. Sit as that presence. Feel the rays of sunshine warm up the surface of your mountain, the mountain that holds all of this life that we were just looking at. The question is, how does your mountain feel about sitting in the sun like this, having its surface warmed up? How does the mountain experience that? Take your next big breath. And then when clouds roll in and there's no more sunlight on the mountain, and from these clouds it starts to rain, drops accumulating into streams and rivulets on the surface of your mountain. How does the mountain feel about the change in weather? Is it the first time the mountain experiences sitting in the rain? How does your mountain feel about sitting in the rain? Take your next big breath. And when the sun goes down and the wind picks up and rain turns into full-blown storm, the face of your mountain is lashed with wind and water. It's pitch black darkness with a howling wind and the crack of thunder and flashes of lightning. Would this be the first time that your mountain experiences a storm? How many storms has your mountain sat through? And how does a mountain feel about sitting in the middle of a storm, looking around at this display of Mother Nature? How does the mountain feel? Take your next big breath. Of course, we know that no storm lasts forever. A new day breaks again. The face of your mountain gets touched by the first rays of sunlight. The air smells fresh and clean. How does your mountain feel about the break of a new day? Take your next big breath. We'll do one more big breath together, slipping out of the breath holding space and into the next. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself slip all the way through. There is no more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back, or even lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. I want to read to you again the poem that we started with, the poem called The Mountain Poem by Laura Ding Edwards. It says that the mountain seems too big today, then climb a hill instead. If the morning brings you sadness, it's okay to stay in bed. If the day ahead weighs heavy and your plans feel like a curse, there is no shame in rearranging. Don't make yourself feel worse. If a shower stings like needles and a bath feels like you'll drown, if you haven't washed your hair for days, don't throw away your crown. A day is not a lifetime, and rest is not defeat. Don't think of it as failure, just a quiet, kind retreat. It's okay to take a moment from an anxious, fractured mind. The world will not stop turning while you get realigned. The mountain will still be there when you want to try again. So climb it in your own time and love yourself till then. And it seems to me that the more we are grounded in this presence of our own mountain, the presence of our soul, the easier it is to see when are the days that we do need to push ourselves, but also, very importantly, when are the days when we're supposed to put everything down and just take a break. And instead of trying to climb a mountain today, perhaps just climb a hill instead. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in. Thank you for having found the mountain in me. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning that I can sit in any weather, whether it's sun, rain, full-blown storm. Just like my mountain, I can be with this. Whatever it is, I can just be with this. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning that when I am able to be with it in the middle of a storm, not have the compulsion to want to change this or run away from this or look away from this, when I'm able to sit in it, I always realize that I am okay. I can be in the middle of it and I can still breathe. I am okay. Take a deep breath in. And thank you for learning that when I surrender and be in it and find I am actually okay, then things always become a little bit more clear. When I surrender to it, I always start to see with a little bit more clarity what might the next action be. Sometimes the next action is to do nothing. Just wait. It will pass. And sometimes the next action is to do something. Build a shelter. Have the conversation that needs to be had. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. You have wisdom that knows. Whatever it is that you're struggling to find an answer for, your wisdom knows. But often we only find our access to that wisdom when we can surrender, whatever it is, rain, wind, storm. If I can surrender to being in this space, that's when I'll find my way to the wisdom. Craig, a very good morning. Always love seeing you pop in. Maggie, a super good morning to you. Love seeing you here. It is such a lovely poem, isn't it? Thank you, Anthony. Hope you feel better soon as well, Anthony. And Linda, thank you so much for spending time with us. Have a beautiful day, everyone. See you again soon. Ciao, ciao.